Hi, my name is Emily, and this is the Sunshine Emms podcast. Welcome back. If you are following along on this month's series, I've been talking about the in between seasons of life. That's what March's theme was. I went over how growth can feel like an identity crisis, how growing can be really isolating, how awful it is to outgrow friendships. And this week, I will be talking about feeling stuck in life and how to go about that. If you're listening to this, there is a good chance that you are stuck in life. Not in some kind of dramatic, the world is ending, I've hit every obstacle kind of stuck, but just that nothing is really moving. Like you're doing something, but not the right thing, or you've outgrown parts of your life, but don't really belong anywhere new yet. Like you're waiting for clarity, motivation, or a sign. None of that is coming. So you feel stuck. Girl, me too. I've been there. I am there. I'm in this waiting period of my life in between my undergrad and grad school. I'm having to redefine every single part of me. And I've been feeling very stagnant in that. So you are not alone. I want to start this episode by saying you are not broken. You are not behind. And this feeling is not a dead end. This is not the end of the story. It's a transition. Let's talk about what this stuck feeling really is. Because feeling stuck does not mean that you're lazy. It's not a lack of attention or effort. And it's definitely not a lack of potential. Feeling stuck often happens when your old identity no longer fits, but your new identity hasn't fully formed. And I've kind of talked about that over the weeks of this series. Obviously, that space is uncomfortable. And like I've said in previous episodes, it can feel really lonely. Here's the part that people don't say out loud. You can be growing and still feel stuck. You could be healing and still feel lost. You could be doing all of the right things, journaling, working, showing up, and still feel like nothing is changing. Because growth doesn't always feel like a forward motion. It's not always a straight curve. Sometimes growth feels like questioning yourself, questioning behaviors around you, letting go of things that you've outgrown or once loved, sitting in the uncertainty way longer than you expect. And it also sometimes you see other people moving forward and you're not. You feel like you're at a pause. That does not mean that growth is not happening. Sometimes it just means that it's deeper. So what do you do when you feel stuck? I've been contemplating this for weeks, and I'm not going to give you the surface level answers, but really, in reality, here's the answer that I've kind of figured out. Stop rushing and stop trying to rush clarity. Clarity doesn't happen from overthinking. It comes from movement and understanding. And that movement can be small. It does not have to be a marathon immediately overnight. This is not a change everything overnight movement. That's not how you're going to find clarity. But like from very small steps, steps like saying no to things that drain you, trying something new without it needing to be the new thing, the new purpose, the new point, showing up inconsistently rather than not showing up at all. And then also letting it be messy instead of it being perfect. Being stuck is not about knowing what to do. And growth doesn't mean you know exactly what's next. This in-between season is really just being afraid to move without certainty. And I get it. It's fucking scary. It's scary to take steps when you don't know where they'll lead you. But staying stuck, staying stagnant, that is just fear dressed up as waiting. Waiting to feel ready and waiting for things to finally happen to you. You're waiting for the right plan, the right step. What's next? What's the journey? What's the outcome? And you're waiting for a version of you that doesn't doubt themselves. But that's not just going to happen overnight. That version of you doesn't come before the action. That version of you comes because of the action. Because of it. And it's so easy to compare during this stage of, I don't know what the fuck is happening, and feeling stuck. It gets louder when you're constantly seeing other people who are moving forward. Everyone else seems to be leveling up, moving on, settling down, meeting all of these steps and victories that they once dreamed about, and they're becoming who they're meant to be. And you're seeing that, and immediately thinking like, why is it that I have to work so hard for things that some people are just getting naturally? But you don't see the struggle that they have gone through. Just like they aren't seeing the struggle you're going through. We don't see the in-between seasons. We just see the highlights, especially with social media in our day-to-day lives. You see, oh, a new baby, congratulations. Another couple got married, wow, congratulations. They found the love of their lives, wow, congratulations. A new promotion, wow, congratulations. You don't see all the hard work it took to prepare themselves to be the person that they need to be in order to settle down. You don't see all the hard work they did to get a promotion, or maybe the struggles they had in fertility to have a child. You do not see the in-between seasons, so you do not know how hard it was for them to get to where they are. You are comparing your behind the scenes in-between season to someone's highlight reel. Do we see how that is just not going to help you grow? It's not going to fuel you. It's not going to make you feel like it's possible when it is. That comparison is always going to make you feel stuck. So here's a reframe I want to sit with you guys. What if you're not stuck? What if you're just in a season that doesn't look like progress yet? What if this is the part where you build self-trust, self-reliance, self-respect? What if this is the moment where everything is slow because you need to make a different decision or get on a different path? What if this season is really forcing you to self-reflect? What if nothing is missing? You're just not meant to rush this part. Maybe you're supposed to be enjoying the moment of steady before you go into another eye of the storm. And I guess the real question is, how do I get unstuck, right? And the way I look at it is I ask myself a lot of questions. Like, what if I need to learn something in this in-between phase before I move forward? And what is this version of me trying to learn before I move forward? The goal isn't to escape this stagnant feeling and the uncomfortable. It's not trying to escape as fast as possible onto the next step. The goal is to understand it at all, so you don't carry the same patterns onto the next part of your journey. I used to tell my friends, I have this reoccurring pattern in relationships where I romanticize a person and I tell everyone, and then I had someone close to me then date the person that I was romanticizing. And this kept happening. And I don't blame the girls or the guys anymore, but I kept asking myself, what am I supposed to be learning from this? Because clearly I didn't learn it the first time. If I'm having to do it a second time and a third, what am I missing out on? And I kept trying to rush onto the next relationship where I would then romanticize a person who was never the version that I romanticized. I'm like, what am I missing out on? Clearly, I just need to get into a relationship. That's not the goal, but I kept rushing it instead of learning, what am I missing out on? What am I supposed to be learning? There's something I'm missing. And so I took a step back. And for those who know me know that I haven't really done anything about my love life since. I didn't want to. I was also scared now from all of these past experiences. I closed that door and I slammed it shut. And it was hard for me to even have crushes. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, if I tell someone, it's going to end up in my, blown up in my face. I can't move forward. So I guess I'm just going to die alone. That in-between season is where I'm at still. Now I've had a few crushes since then, and I've realized I was not meant to be with the people I was romanticizing because I was romanticizing them in a way that I didn't even care who they were. I cared more about who they would be to me. And that's never going to be a fair relationship. But I didn't know that then, But it took me having to experience it over and over where I was like, I am stuck. I don't know how I'm going to progress. I don't know how I'm going to move forward. And then I did. It's possible to move forward. So don't freak out if you're in this stage of steady. Nothing is happening yet. You're in this in-between of, I don't know if I got into grad school, or I don't know if I got the job, or I don't know if I'm ready to move on, or I don't know. This is the moment in time where you get to learn. not from a huge lesson, not from a slap in the face. You get to learn on your own frequency, on your own choices, and your own timing. That never gets to happen. So take advantage of it. Before I close out the last episode of this month's series, I wanted to tell you that you are allowed to be in progress and see no progress. You're allowed to be in progress where there is no proof. You don't need to prove it to anyone but yourself. You're allowed to not have it all figured out. Take it from someone who planned out her whole life, months ahead, years ahead, 5 years at a time, and then realized, what was I planning for? So that I would avoid everything in the journey of it all? You're allowed to move slowly. You're allowed to pivot. You're allowed to change your mind. Now is the time to do that when you're feeling in a moment of stuck. Feeling stuck doesn't mean your life isn't moving. It means that your growth is happening in a way that you can't fully see yet. And you might not see until years down the line. That's okay. You don't need proof. You don't need proof to show that you are growing, that you are going anywhere. This isn't a road where you see, oh, mile marker 32. That's not how this works. So if you're in that space right now, this in-between, unclear, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing phase, you are not alone. Sit in it. Not in this stuck mindset, but be present, be aware. Because one day you're going to look back at this version of you and realize that this wasn't where you were paused. This wasn't a wall that you were slamming into. Maybe it was a rest stop. This is where you start becoming your next self. Take advantage of that. Take your time with it. Sit with it and enjoy the fact that you're not having to go head first in the deep end again. Take a breath. I'm really glad you're here. And I'm really glad that you listened to this episode because it is so scary to do all this alone. I, for one, know how scary it is. Next month, the month of April, I will be doing episodes on body image. It's going to be hard-hitting conversations between you and I. And I'm going to be super vulnerable, probably cry a couple times, and just be honest about my journey with body image and how maybe you can learn from some of the mistakes I had. Or maybe we can cry and be vulnerable together. I hope you really liked this episode and you liked this month's series. I hope you take what you need, leave what you don't, and in the meantime, show up for yourself. And if you don't, I will show up for you. I can't wait to see you guys next time. For those who don't know, I have a mini series called Golden Hour where I will be reading some of your guys' stories, comments, and small wins, and just let you get some things off your chest. If you're interested in that, the link is in the show notes, and that happens every Tuesday. So until then, and until next month, you are not alone. You are not stuck. Be present, and I love you. Have a good week.